On Fox 8 News at noon, big names like actor Tom Hanks were in New Orleans speaking at today's opening of the National World War II Museum's new pavilion. Well, more on today's ceremony and what to expect at the new exhibit. And the head of the Orleans Parish Communications District under fire for how 911 calls are categorized. The issue that started back in September of 2022. Fox 8
News is New Orleans' most watched news. Fox 8 Local First starts now.
And good afternoon, I'm Domangue. We have a weekend warm-up in store. Here's meteorologist Nakandra Norwood with a first look at your Weather Authority forecast. And a reminder that money is available to you if you are still struggling with storm damage. Louisiana's Roof Grant Program will hold its third application period at noon on Monday. It'll open for 750 homeowners on a first-come, first-served basis. The grants are expected to fortify 3,000 homes statewide. Officials expected to fortified roofs will lower the risk of storm losses and keep underwriters in the state. Homeowners must have a state-approved evaluator and obtain bids from at least 3 insurance contractors to qualify for the grants. And New Orleans council members grilled the interim head of the Orleans Parish Communications District about how calls are categorized when someone calls 911. Last night's Lee Zurich investigation highlighted the issue, which started back in September of 2022 when OPCD changed the way it handles and labels domestic calls. Domestic calls were previously labeled in 12 categories, but last year, OPCD changed the classification to just 2 types of calls: domestic violence and domestic dispute. Council members say that has led to delayed response times in some cases, including the New Orleans East fire that killed 3 kids last month. Council Vice President Helena Moreno told Interim Director Carl Fasold the slow response to the fire cost the children their lives. While the change happened under the former head of OPCD, council members said it is up to Fasold to make changes before a budget is approved.
I'm very concerned that you have inherited institutional chaos in that you had an OPCD district that decided to get involved in crime solving, crime fighting, and changing the entire mechanism for classifying crimes for apparently no reason anyone can track. And not to spread blame, but I will when it's necessary, an administration and a board that let him do it. You have people on your board that are former NOPD. They should have known changing those call signs would create absolute chaos.
Now, Fasold says that they are working on changes to the system. He says in a few weeks there will now be 14 ways to differentiate domestic calls, and other changes are being made as well. Well, much more on the meeting and plan changes tonight on Fox 8 News at 4 and 5. And at the city's World War II Museum, hundreds gather for the grand opening of the final jewel in one of the city's biggest tourist attractions. The $47 million Liberation Pavilion is now ready to open to the general public after years of planning. Rob Masson has more from the National World War II Museum.
A long time to come. So, Dr. Joe Ramos, thank you, sir.
It has been a perfect day for a celebration of America's victory in World War II and the grand opening of a major new exhibit that pays tribute to the sacrifices of World War II generation amid a war's legacy. And hundreds of attendees stood for 15 minutes as nearly 30 World War II veterans entered the brand new Colonel Battle Barksdale Parade grounds for today's grand opening. This a major exhibit in a World War II museum that first opened 23 years ago with just a building, a Higgins, a boats, a few artifacts, and a dream. The new Liberation Pavilion features 2 floors of exhibit space, a new theater in the round, and a tribute to Anne Frank and what her family went through during 2 years of living in hiding. Actor and director Tom Hanks has been a major supporter of the National World War II Museum for more than 20 years.
Any human being of any age or station can come and see the example of our responsibility as Americans and as freedom-loving people to periodically take up the cause of what? Of conquering? Of vanquishing? No, of liberty.
I think everybody should come and see this and observe what happened for their edification, if nothing else.
The Liberation Pavilion also preserves narratives from World War II veterans and Holocaust survivors. It also highlights America's emergence as a superpower after World War II, human as it initiated the Marshall Plan designed to rebuild European countries into democracies, which remain strong today. Within the Liberation Pavilion and Barksdale Parade grounds open to the general public tomorrow. A social media threat led Langston Hughes Academy to cancel classes today. The school announced the threat was directed at students. The school does say that it reported the threat to NOPD, and classes will resume back on Monday. An upcoming sale of federal Gulf of Mexico oil and gas leases is off again amid legal fights over protections for an endangered species of whale. Yesterday, it was officially postponed. The federal appellate panel in New Orleans last week paused a separate appeals panel's order that the sale be held next Wednesday. Oil industry advocates have pressed President Joe Biden's administration to go ahead with the sale anyway, but the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management said it was postponing the event because of the legal uncertainties heading into a November 13th appeals court hearing. And this Sunday, the Saints taking on the Chicago Bears, and head coach Dennis Allen says he's working to make sure that the black and gold have a strong offense for this game. The Saints have not had a fully healthy offensive line in several weeks. However, the five that have suited up have kept Derek Carr clean and upright. The line has also done a solid job at opening up holes for the running game. The offensive line is a must for the Saints to have a successful season. And you get ready for the game with the Fox 8 sports team. You can watch the Fox 8 tailgate Sunday starting at 10 a.m. And coming up next, our latest Lee Zurich investigation detailing the changes to the 911 system, how it may put some of the city's most vulnerable at risk.